Hey everybody, it's Matt here, and today I have got the Bosch EasyCut 12 cordless NanoBlade saw. Now this one is a 12-volt battery-powered handheld saw capable of cutting through a maximum of 65mm diameter branches, etc. And it only weighs 900 grams including the battery, so pretty lightweight. Over here on the back of the box, it tells me that we can also do plastics up to 30mm in thickness. It comes with a 2 amp hour capacity lithium-ion battery, and the battery has a 110-minute charging time to charge from flat to fully charged. So this one is designed by Bosch in Germany. This one also obviously comes in a handy carry case. So on the side of the box, it has pictured here what I assume is meant to be in here: the saw and battery, a blade cover, and the battery charger. So let's open this one up and have a look at what exactly comes in the case with this Bosch EasyCut 12. So at the front of the box here, we've got a pair of these red Bosch clips. We also have a little loop in there that we could put a padlock in if you want to lock the box shut. These just clip open like so, nice and easy. Then in the box here, we have the Bosch EasyCut 12 NanoBlade, as well as our charger. Battery looks to be already fitted. And at the top of the box here, we also have what appears to be a manual and information. So right up the top here, this is kind of just information on the different models of NanoBlade, has some specs on them and what they're recommended for. Then we've got what appears to be a manual on the charger, the GAL 12V-20 professional charger. Then we have a warranty card, and then we have the manual for the actual Bosch EasyCut 12 NanoBlade. So that's everything that's in the top section. Coming down into the rest of the box, the actual gear. First up, we've got a charger. So the charger and battery are different from the professional Bosch chargers and batteries. And then, of course, last thing in here, the Bosch EasyCut 12 NanoBlade, which is really well wedged in there. It's not moving anywhere. So that's it. Let's have a closer look. It's pretty solid. On the specs, it says it weighs about 900 grams or about 1.98 pounds with the battery. We can see on the side of the blade here that this one has come with the wood speed 65mm blade, which is this one. And so if we have a look at this, we've got the blade up here right at the top, our saw blade. We've got a really solid base plate here, and this feels really solid, really sturdy, and the whole thing feels really solid and well built. Coming down, we have our on-off switch, which is this little button here, and it actually exists on both sides of the unit, so you can see that side and that side. And then so we've got our lock off button here. As long as this is popped out, which it will be if you're not applying pressure to it, then the trigger cannot actually be pressed in, which is this red one here. So that's actually locked as long as this button is out, and that button exists on both sides, so we can push it on either side and it will come all the way through, but it doesn't matter which one we use, either one. Depressing that will unlock it, and then we can use our trigger or our power button. We've also got a handy wrist strap down the bottom of it. We do have a couple of rubberized sections which are going to be key points for where you're holding it. So this section on the back of the handle is rubberized, which is where your hand is going to sit, and then also down here where your fingers will sit is also rubberized through there. So that's sort of how it's going to sit in your hand, something like that. So those rubberized sections there will help with grip and comfort. The green is all like a hard plastic. And then these other darker gray sections, including like this bit around here and also up the front, are rubberized as well, although they don't have quite as much grip as these sections around the hand. They are rubberized. The only exception to that is the gray on the battery. This is not rubberized. So this is the battery down the bottom here. We can see at the front of it, it's telling us the voltage and capacity, 12 volts, 2 amp hours. And we've got our release button on the side of it. So we're just squeezing those in on both sides. There's one on each side there. I'll do that again. So you've got one here and one over this side, and you want to squeeze them both in to release it. And it is a really steady locking mechanism, so you've got to really get a good grip on it to release them. And if you haven't used one of these before, it might take a couple of goes to get used to it, but they don't actually depress all that far. So if you have a look at the battery, you can see they don't actually depress those in all that far, but you've got to have both of them in all the way to actually release it. We've got our contact terminals at the top of the battery, which are going to be inside the unit. Now the battery is a Bosch PBA 12V 2 amp hour battery, and these are part of the Bosch personal range. So as I mentioned before, these are not compatible with the professional range as far as I'm aware. Now I forgot to mention all of these rubberized sections are actually insulated gripping surfaces. Let me back up the top here. We've got our battery charge indicator just on this one side. So that's just an LED that's going to tell us when the battery level is getting low. And then coming up here, we have the cover over the saw blade receptacle, as well as our locking lever for releasing the saw blade. So we can lift that one up and that releases the cover. So that red one up, and this is the saw blade receptacle here. And then we can just simply take that saw blade off. And so that's the blade itself. So you can see we've got this little spring-loaded mechanism here for actually mounting it in the EasyCut. So it's a pretty straightforward process to replace your blades. Just slot straight in there, and then we can lock that back down again. It does come with a little plastic cover over the blade. Now this cover is fairly tightly on there, so just pull that one off to release it, and there's the blade without the cover. Definitely take care with this. It does have a little indicator there of which way the blade goes. In the manual, Bosch does state to make sure when you're using this, you always cut top to bottom or forward to backwards so that you're going in line with the direction this blade is cutting.
And then to actually use it, we would press in our locking button and then use our trigger. We can press the button from either side. Again, it doesn't matter which one, and then trigger. And you can see there our charge indicator is on. The blade has a constantly variable speed, which is defined by how hard you're actually pressing in the trigger. So the harder you press it in, the faster the blade will go. So if I unlock it, for example, and just hold the button in a little bit, you can hear and probably see the blade is quite slow. Whereas if I hold it in all the way, it will go at full speed. So there's quite a broad range there, and I really like just how easy it is to control that speed based on how hard you're holding in that trigger. The locking button is easy enough to use to unlock it, while being just out of the way enough that you're not going to be bumping it too easily. And it's easy to use from both sides. Like for me, I'm right-handed, easy enough to press in with my thumb on this side, while also I could press it with my finger on the other side. Both work just as well. So I really like having the option to do it from either side, especially if you've got a lot of work to do. Being able to use different sides can make it a lot easier. Once it's in, you don't need to continue holding that button. As soon as you've got the trigger in, you can release the locking button, but do be aware that as soon as you let go of the trigger completely, the locking button will pop out and it will lock the saw again. So pressing it in, I can press in the trigger. Now I haven't actually got it in far enough to run yet, but we can see the power light has come on and the lock button is actually held in there. So we can now actually use it fairly freely, but as soon as we let it go too far out, that lock button will release and lock the trigger again. So there's a lot of safety features built in there, which is really awesome. When it is time to charge the battery, it's pretty straightforward because the battery only goes in one direction. So the contacts, I'm meeting those ones in the bottom of the charger there. Again, only one direction it can actually slot in, which is just like that, and it just clips in nice and easy. And when you're done with it and ready to put it back in the saw, you can just pull it straight out and it comes out of the charger a lot easier than it does out of the actual saw. When it comes to packing everything up back in the box, obviously the saw goes in the same spot, but I did notice there's actually a little spot down here right in the front, which is the perfect size for the battery. So if you want, you can store your battery separately from the saw so it's not in there, or you've got space to add a second battery and store a spare battery in the case as well. So there you go. That is the Bosch EasyCut 12 NanoBlade and everything that comes in the box with it, including the 2 amp hour battery, the saw itself, the charger, the manual for the saw, the manual for the charger, warranty information, and the blade information as well. So I hope you found this video helpful. For information and pricing on these saws, make sure you check out the affiliate links that are down in the description. And of course, give this video the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this from me. Bye for now.